ओके, गुड मॉर्निंग ऑल। शिलोंग से और श्रीनगर से जो लोग हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, मैं उनका वेलकम करता हूं। उसके साथ साथ मैं उन सभी लोगों को वेलकम कर रहा हूं जो हमारे साथ इस सेशन में जुड़े हैं और जुड़ने वाले हैं। अभी मैं आपका इंट्रोडक्शन कराता हूं जो हमारे साथ में शिलोंग से लोग जुड़ रहे हैं। जो हमारे साथ शिलोंग श्रीनगर से ट्रेनिंग प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट यूनिट PMU की टीम अंडर जो वर्किंग श्रीनगर म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन की है वो हमारे साथ जुड़ गई है। वेलकम आप लोगों का, श्रीनगर वालों का वेलकम कर रहा हूं मैं, ऑफिशियली वेलकम आपका सभी का। उसके बाद प्रोजेक्ट डेवलपमेंट एंड मैनेजमेंट कंसल्टेंट ऑफ शिलोंग स्मार्ट सिटी वर्किंग अंडर द क्लाइंट, उनका भी मैं बहुत जल्दी स्वागत करता हूं, बहुत बहुत स्वागत। उसके अलावा मैं डॉक्टर रेनू मालविया, प्रोफेसर रेनू मालविया, जो कि दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी की प्रोफेसर हैं और आज हमारे साथ रिसोर्स पर्सन हैं और हमारे लिए आज के लिए प्रेजेंटेशन लेके आई हैं जो भी हमारा टॉपिक है उसके ऊपर। उसके साथ ही मैं पारुल जी से का भी वेलकम कर रहा हूं, मिस्टर पारुल शर्मा। पारुल शर्मा जी, आपका स्वागत है। और बाकी जितने भी डिग्निटीज हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, मैं उन सबको बाय नेम नहीं जान रहा हूं, लेकिन मैं आप सबका वॉइस फॉर एबिलिटी की तरफ से और बाकी परिक्रमा की तरफ से जो हमें सपोर्ट कर रही है, परिक्रमा का की टीम का स्वागत करता हूं मैं, उनका भी थैंक्स करता हूं। उसके साथ जनहित विकास संस्था का भी स्वागत करता हूं और आप सभी लोगों को आज के टॉपिक के लिए। और उससे सबसे ऑल अबाउट मैं ऑस्ट्रेलियन कॉन्सुलेट जनरल का सपोर्ट कर जो उन्होंने हमें दिया है उसके लिए हम वेलकम करते हैं, उनको सब थैंक्स कहते हैं कि उन्होंने हमें ये मौका दिया कि हम आप सब लोगों के साथ बातचीत कर सकें। और इस सब का श्रेय जो है हमारे पारुल शर्मा जी को जाता है जिन्होंने हमें इस सब चीजों के लिए कनेक्ट किया है। ओवर टू पारुल जी। पारुल जी अपने ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स दे दें और उसके बाद फिर हम लोग कार्यक्रम शुरू करते हैं।
Yeah, thank you Kabir ji for setting the context. There is some issue with my camera, तो मैं ऑन नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for sparing your time, especially on a working day. Or I would also like to thank the project management unit team working in Srinagar Municipal Corporation and project development and management consultants of Shillong Smart City, which are working under the client Shillong Smart City Limited. तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप लोगों का. और I would like to thank the Australian High Commission, Australian government and the Australian Consulate-General Chennai for initiating a program like Australian Alumni Grant Scheme, जिसके सपोर्ट के बाद मैंने कुछ लर्निंग मॉड्यूल्स बनाए जो आज हम आपके साथ शेयर करेंगे, which are focusing on promoting inclusive design and accessible cities in India. And we will explain you like why this is necessary and how diversity is the reality and inclusion की बात क्यों जरूरी है हमारी स्मार्ट सिटीज में और अन्य सभी शहरों में भारत में. तो ये ऑस्ट्रेलियाई सरकार का बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है कि दे वांट टू collaborate with Indian agencies, Indian partners and talk about and initiate dialogues about these significant issues like the issue of disability and universal design in India. So once again, I would like to thank Australian government for supporting us. And हमारे साथ ऑस्ट्रेलिया से PhD स्कॉलर मिस्टर हर्ष भी हैं हमारे बीच, जो भारत सरकार के द्वारा एक स्कॉलरशिप प्राप्त करने के बाद ऑस्ट्रेलिया में अपनी पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं. ओवर टू यू हर्ष. हर्ष, आप 1 मिनट के लिए अपना फीडबैक शेयर करना चाहेंगे? हर्ष इज ऑल्सो ए पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी, भारत सरकार में कार्यरत थे और अब पढ़ने गए हैं विदेश. हर्ष, आप सुन पा रहे हो मुझे?
जी सर. जी नमस्ते सर.
आप अपना 1 मिनट लेके आप अपना लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहेंगे? और चाहूंगा अगर आप वीडियो ऑन कर सकते हैं, वीडियो भी ऑन कर लें.
जी सर.
ओवर टू यू हर्ष.
यस सर.
बहुत जल्दी 1 मिनट लेके आप अपना बताएं, एक्सपीरियंस आपका कैसा रहा. इंडिया में आपने बैरियर्स फेस किए और अब आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया में पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं.
जी सर, जैसे कि पारुल सर ने बताया, मेरे को भारत सरकार से स्कॉलरशिप मिली, सर के ही विभाग से, दिव्यांगजन विभाग से, दिल्ली से, और मैं वहीं कार्यरत भी था एज ए कंसल्टेंट आईटी। उसके बाद मेरे को ये अवसर मिला, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ सिडनी पीएचडी मैं कर रहा हूँ यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ सिडनी से एरोस्पेस इंजीनियरिंग में। लेकिन अभी मैं वहाँ ज्वाइन नहीं कर रहा हूँ ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जाके, मैं अभी इंडिया से ही रिमोटली कर रहा हूँ, और कुछ ही दिनों में आई विल बी एबल टू मूव देयर इन विद इन फ्यू डेज। और मेरा जो अभी तक का जो मैं अलग अलग उसमें रहा भी, और मेरा क्योंकि दिव्यांगजन विभाग में ही था, तो मेरे को जो भी एक्सपीरियंस मेरा रहा है दिव्यांगों के साथ और दिव्यांगों के लिए करने के लिए, और मैं खुद भी एक दिव्यांग हूँ जैसे कि सर ने बताया, तो ये जैसे कि एक्सेसिबल इंडिया के बारे में भी है, और भी जो दिव्यांगों की तकलीफें होती हैं उसके बारे में भी चर्चा मेरे ख्याल से होगी। तो मैंने ये देखा है कि कई जगहों पर अभी देखने को मिलता है कि इंडिया में कि दिव्यांगों के लिए इतनी फैसिलिटीज नहीं है एज कंपेयर टू अदर कंट्रीज, और जो कि अपन कई माध्यमों से जैसे कि सोशल मीडिया वगैरह पे या न्यूज चैनल्स पे देख पाते हैं कभी कभार कि वहाँ पे कितनी अच्छी फैसिलिटीज दिव्यांगों को मिलती है। तो वही, और मैं इसमें एक बात ऐड करना चाहता हूँ कि मैं जाने से पहले मेरे जो पीएचडी गाइड है वहाँ के, वो इतने मतलब हेल्पिंग वहाँ के रहते हैं कि उन्होंने कई बार मेरे से पूछा, और यूनिवर्सिटी ने भी आगे बढ़ के मेरे से कई बार पूछा कि आपकी कोई स्पेशल नीड तो नहीं है, कोई एक्सेसिबल आपको रूम की जरूरत या एक्सेसिबल टॉयलेट्स की जरूरत, या फिर किसी भी तरीके की व्हील चेयर या कुछ भी तरीके की जरूरत हो तो आप हमें जरूर बताएं। और ये एक बार नहीं, उन्होंने कई दफा पूछा। तो ये मैं पॉइंट यहाँ जरूर मेंशन करना चाहता हूँ कि कितना ज्यादा वो, क्योंकि मैं यहाँ की यूनिवर्सिटी में भी पढ़ा हूँ, बहुत बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी यहाँ की ट्रिपल आईटी ग्वालियर जो है, वन ऑफ द प्रीमियर इंस्टीट्यूशंस है इंडिया में, उसमें मैंने बीटेक एमटेक करा था। और अब मैं जैसे यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ सिडनी में कर रहा हूँ, तो मेरे में ये देखा मैंने कि वो स्टूडेंट्स को, जो हैंडीकैप स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उनको लेके कितना ज्यादा केयरफुल है, कि कितना उनके लिए केयर उनके उसमें है कि वो आगे बढ़ के पूछते हैं और बार बार उनसे जानना चाहते हैं कि कहीं आपको कोई दिक्कत नहीं आ रही हो या हम आपकी कोई सहायता कर सकते हैं। तो ये एक थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस मेरे को अभी तक देखने को मिला है यहाँ में और वहाँ के इंस्टीट्यूशंस में।
थैंक यू हर्ष फॉर शेयरिंग
जी
योर लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंसेस,
जी
काफी
जी, थैंक यू
वैल्यूएबल
सर,
है
थैंक यू
हमारे
सो
लिए।
मच।
और बाकी
जी
ओवर टू यू कबीर जी।
या
Let's start with the
पारुल
session.
जी, थैंक यू। आपके जो आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया जा रहे हैं, आपका बहुत हमें जान के बहुत अच्छा लगा, और हम चाहते हैं कि आप वहाँ जाके सक्सेस हों, और हमारे इंडिया और ऑस्ट्रेलिया का जो रिलेशन है उसको और मेंटेन करने में हमें आपसे बहुत फायदा मिलेगा। अभी हम लोग एक वीडियो प्ले करना चाहेंगे, मेरी टेक्निकल टीम अगर रेडी है वीडियो प्ले के लिए, जो कि हमारा ऑस्ट्रेलिया से ही रिलेटेड है। ये हमारे मिस्टर विकास शर्मा हैं, जो कि हमारे वॉइस फॉर एबिलिटी के कम्युनिकेशन और स्ट्रेटेजी डायरेक्टर हैं, और ऑस्ट्रेलियन एम्बेसी में, ऑस्ट्रेलियन यूनिवर्सिटी में वर्क कर रहे हैं, और आप होस्ट भी हैं वहाँ पे, बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स कर रहे हैं वॉइस फॉर एबिलिटी के लिए, बहुत अच्छा उन्होंने काम किया है। तो उनका एक मैसेज हमारे साथ, क्योंकि टेक्निकल एरर की वजह से वो ज्वाइन नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन उनका एक मैसेज हमारे लिए आज आप सबके लिए है। तो मैं चाहूंगा अपनी टेक्निकल टीम से कि ये पहले वीडियो प्ले कर दें।
Hello everyone and welcome to today's
टेक्निकल टीम पूछ रही है कि ये ऑडियो सुनाई दे रहा था, वीडियो सुनाई दे रहा था?
यस ब्लॉसम आ रही है, इस टाइम टीम वॉइस आ रही है, परफेक्ट है, आपको प्ले कर दें। टेक्निकल टीम प्लीज
Hello
प्ले।
everyone and welcome to today's session, and I'm thankful to everyone for allowing me to share my views with you through this screen, and special thanks to Mr. Kabir Siddiqui, who has actually invited me to speak. I feel that the present training sessions supported by the Australian Consulate-General Chennai, the Australian government through the AAGS scheme 2021 is an effort in the direction of sensitizing urban practitioners to guide the design of accessible spaces to ensure equitable, easy access to persons with disabilities. I would like to thank Australian alumni Mr. Parul Sharma for developing the content and organizing the training session. Kabir Siddiqui, media partner, Voice for Ability, with whom I have been associated for quite some time as part of strategy and communication. And last but not the least, Dr. Renu Malviya, Professor, Delhi University. I feel such initiatives are also providing a platform to connect Australian alumni to each other across disciplines and professions, organizations and institutions, and geographic areas in order to share good practice and create opportunities for collaboration. As I said, I am right now in Canberra, Australia, talking to you, and this is my great privilege to talk to you about such an initiative. I would like to explore how such training sessions and collaborations could be further facilitated with Australian institutions. I believe that such collaborations would develop, maintain, and strengthen professional linkages and partnerships between Australian alumni, the Australian government, businesses, organizations, and educational institutions. You all are doing such a great job, and I'm really privileged to be able to speak to you once again. Thank you so much for the opportunity and keep doing the good work. Hello everyone and welcome to
थैंक यू विकास विकास का हमारे इसके अंदर जो ये मैसेज आया है इसके ऊपर हम आप सभी लोगों को यस थैंक यू एवरीवन जो अभी आप शर्मा को सुन रहे हैं हमारे साथ एसोसिएटेड हैं वॉइस फॉर एबिलिटी के साथ में और इन सब वेबिनार्स के साथ में नाउ में अब मैं ज्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए मैं चाहूंगा कि आप डॉक्टर रेणु मालविया प्रोफेसर दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी सीनियर प्रोफेसर वो हमारे आज के प्रेजेंटेशन कर रहे हैं हमारा रिसोर्स पर्सन है हमारे तो बहुत ही आदर के साथ और हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट के साथ मैम को इनवाइट कर रहा हूँ ओवर टू डॉक्टर रेणु मालविया
थैंक यू मिस्टर सिद्दीकी ये प्लेटफॉर्म मेरे लिए भी अहम इम्पोर्टेंस रखता है and Dr. Parul Sharma, thank you very much for organizing all these across the city of India. इसकी वजह से बहुत awareness होएगी and as a person in disability, as a so-called expert of disability, I look forward कि all over India हमारी जितनी भी cities हैं वो accessible और inclusive हो जाएं and of course smart cities too. And from here, may I just go on and present my slide? Our tech team, I hope you are able to get my slide.
2 seconds, ma'am. Few seconds. Yeah.
It's there. So, first of all, I would like to thank the Australian Consulate-General Chennai and the Australian Alumni Grant Scheme 2021 for giving this opportunity for us to be able to present and promote accessible and inclusive cities in India. And the entire set of content development has been done by Dr. Parul Sharma. It has further been modified and changed a little bit here and there, but the work is actually Dr. Parul Sharma's. And thank you to the media partners, Voice for Ability, Parikrama, and the other organizations which have supported this. मैं आपसे पूछूंगी कि आप क्या चाहेंगे कि मैं इंग्लिश और हिंदी मिक्स करके बोलूं या खाली इंग्लिश में करना है I suppose Dr. Parul Sharma will be able to guide better. Parul ji? Kabir ji,
मैडम जिस तरह से हम लोग पहले करते आए हैं बहुत
I think, yeah, English is fine because we have participants from Shillong as well. So
okay,
English English सभी के लिए easily understandable है. So let's continue with
wonderful,
English. Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful,
If
wonderful.
someone wants
Okay,
to ask anything
so
in Hindi, you're welcome. Yeah,
right,
right.
right.
But
So
we
here
will
we
continue
are.
in English. I think it's okay for all.
Right.
Yeah.
Fine, fine. So here we have the screen. I hope it is visible to everyone.
यस मैम यस मैम
ओके, तो जब हम इसकी बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर ये जो हमारी सेशंस हैं, ट्रेनिंग सेशंस विच आर डिवाइडेड इनटू 6 पार्ट्स, इसका टारगेट ग्रुप कौन है? स्टेट, टाउन, कंट्री प्लानर्स, urban development authorities, urban local bodies, urban practitioners, executing agencies, planners, designers, contractors, civic agencies, and other institutes in India. And ये हम, what are we going to be? These modules are based on, and through these modules, we will refresh ourselves to understand what is an equitable access at the physical environment level, transport level, information and communication level, ensure greater accessibility, not only for persons with disability, but also the elderly. About 15% of the persons with disability, our country has about 15% of persons with disability. But besides that, we also have about um, a lot of people who become disabled for a temporary reason. Somebody breaks a leg, something else happens, so you are disabled for a particular period of time. And the percent of people with what do we say, who are elderly, and because of that disability is setting in, is also on the increase. So therefore, these are the people that we are going to be focusing on when we're talking about accessible cities, inclusive cities, smart cities. And so we'll go on to our next thing. So the first topic that we are discussing is eliminating barriers, standards, and guidelines for universal accessibility in policy and planning. Why do we need to eliminate barriers? All of us are very aware that for elimination of barriers, if the cities are not accessible, if the people with temporary or permanent disabilities, the elderly, the pregnant women, infants, toddlers cannot access all parts of the cities, then what is happens is that it leads to lesser people in the public domain. And if you're not able to be in the public domain, you are not able to contribute effectively as per your abilities, your capabilities. And it is seen that there is a direct link between disability and poverty. So, if you are not able to reach your employment opportunities, if you are not able to limit education, if limited education, healthcare nahi ho pa raha hai, lack of specialized equipment is not possible, then it leads to more poverty. And that is stopping us from becoming one of the reasons which is stopping us from becoming a developed country. We are moving very fast to be a developed country. Look at this here. And if you look at this, what do you see? The dignity of a person because of barriers. Look at this particular picture. I try and enlarge it a little bit here and see. This is a wonderful conference hall, and you can see that probably there is going to be a major international conference happening here, and people with major expertise, doctoral, postdoctoral, and others are going to be present here. But we have this gentleman here whose only issue is that he cannot walk on two legs. He might be a postdoctoral, he might be an expert, probably he is. But look at the indignity of the entire situation. Just because we are the hall, the conference space is not accessible for people who cannot walk. Should that be enough reason for a person to lose one's dignity to this particular level? And going on to the next point here is often, this is not a picture from our, I hope mine, this is not a picture from India, but such situations do appear in India also. A wheelchair user going into this dirty toilet. Imagine going back and sitting wherever she might be, uh, maybe a hair professional somewhere, maybe even a clerk. But can you look at the dignity, the smell, the whole awkward situation, difficult situation it has created? So this is what we are going to, why accessible cities are so important. Inclusion is so important. Now, this, what I was saying was at the level of our moral strengths, why we need to be good to others, or what happens to their dignity. But we also need to remember, and we know it all, whatever I'm going to talk about is something that you people already know, but we are here just to refresh ourselves. So we have the global awareness of disability, which includes the WHO 2011 guidelines, which says clearly equity, human diversity, and accessibility. The United Nations Convention for the Right of Persons with Disabilities, UNCRPD 2006, and India was a signatory in 2008. We said that we will follow that. We will do full integration. We will treat equally and with human diversity everyone. And we will accept and value differences. And anyway, we do, it's a part of our philosophy. But here we are a signatory to the UN, which is Pan Earth. IDA, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which clearly has 7 targets, which are for persons with disability, and 6 other targets, which directly or indirectly include the vulnerable people in vulnerable situations and the persons with disability. So therefore, at the global level, it is mandatory for us to work on these. At
मैं
Indian level,
आपको 2 सेकंड के लिए इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ। टेक्निकल टीम को कहूंगा कि थोड़ा सा स्क्रीन अगर पीपीटी थोड़ा बड़ा हो सकता है तो हो सकता है, क्योंकि ऑडियंस की मांग ये है कि वो स्क्रीन थोड़ा सा बड़ा चाहिए। अगर पॉसिबल है टेक्निकल टीम से कहिए कि टेक्निकल टीम प्लीज अगर थोड़ा सा बड़ा हो सकता है इस पीपीटी तो उसको कर दीजिए।
okay, our technical team, please work on this. So we have here, uh, so we have the Government of India. So Government of India has given, we have the Persons with Disability Act 2019, and we also have the, we were signatories to that, and then we have the act again in 2016. So Government of India also has these uh, acts and policies in place. And as we go further, we will find many others that the Government of India has been working on. What is disability? Disability is an evolving concept. It's not something that happens, it's only going to be this and this. It interacts with the environment. So, interaction between persons with impairment, attitudinal, and environmental barriers. So, a person is using a wheelchair. This is leading to a difficulty in getting appropriate employment because of environmental barriers, because of issues with buses, staircases, roads, lifts, ramps, toilets, and so on. So, as urban planners, if we want this large percentage of population, 15 persons with clear-cut benchmark 40% disability, and the others with less of thing. I think there are, I would request whoever has their audio on except me to please put your audios off. It is creating a lot of noise. So going back, so we have So this is what disability is about. Now, coming to the inclusive participation of embedding accessibility in urban areas. We have so many of these acts and policies in place. UNDCA, UCLG, WHO 2015, UN 216, and we also, there's a lot of work happening, and India is a part of that too. The Global Future Councils on Cities of Tomorrow, the MasterCard initiative of City Possibles, United Cities and Local Governments is an umbrella international organization. Yet, what are the lacuna? Let's have a glimpse into that. What we're going to have pictures here, and when you see them, you'll find that this is, yes, it's there. But are there documentation? Is there a disability audit being done for urban, smart, accessible, inclusive cities? Has it been done in any city of India? Has Srinagar thought about it? Has Shillong thought about it? I leave this question with you as we move through these different photo pictures that have been taken majorly by Parul Sharma. We will go through these vehicles, roads and paths, routines and approaches, parking, reception areas, drinking water, toilet, marketplaces, and others. Now, look at the type of things which is possible. These type of buses in many low flow, low entry buses with space available for the dog space, dog guide, and also dedicated places where the wheelchair securement can be done. We have a few to showcase in India, but in developed countries, this is how major of the buses are. So if we are to move towards that and have accessible, inclusive cities in India, then this is what we need to work. Now, this is such a simple, easy idea. Just extend the space platform little, and when not required, it can go down. And this is not very expensive. Of course, look at this from Pune. We are having now good, appropriate bus stands with the tactile tiles and the boxes, etc., which are the color is in contrast. So this all is happening. We are These are things that we already know about. But what is the reason that we, as urban planners, as government officials, local government levels, and others, are not able to get these not expensive, portable, easy to move from space to place in our cities? Why are they not so easily visible? And when we talk about dignity, this is what's happening in our railways. When we have a portable ramp, okay, better. But this is not the answer, actually, because the ramp ratio of 1 is to 12, it has to be 1 is to 12 or more than that, is not here. The person on the wheelchair, I know this is only for a photograph to be taken and therefore it is here, but the person is not able to enter the railway without independently. Accessible railways, accessible cities have to enable everyone to do their movements, their movement from space to place independently. So this is just example. Now look at the routes. All of us here sitting in this particular workshop or training session are so aware of it. Yet, have we done an audit? There's a difference between awareness, sensitization, motivation. So one is we are aware that there needs to be a go tiles, tactile tiles, which is that it goes and the person who has visual impairment can just keep walking safely. And this is the stop tile. The stop tile says stop, assess the situation, then move. And so this is how it has to be: go, stop, assess, and then decide. What am I supposed to do? Go to the right or the left, or is there some issue after this? Now, see, we have the stop tiles everywhere. So, somebody who is visually impaired using a white cane stops after each one of them and then assesses. Why? This should have had the go tiles, tactile tiles. Same here. Very nice decoration, but it doesn't serve the purpose. Same here. And here, fine, you have the line, the tiles like this, but there should be a go tile, sorry, a stop tile here with these dots here. So the person can make a decision whether the person wants to go forward or go down the stairs here. So again, there is a flaw in this arrangement of tactile tiles also. Similarly, if you go around, you see many of these things. Now, this is a very good idea. This is how it should have been with these stop tiles in between. So if you want to move your directions, it is easier to do. Supreme Court of India, no accessibility. And other old buildings, historical buildings from the 16th century, the 18th century, across developed countries have managed to make them accessible to a extent. But why not in India? If you see, there are issues here. The sign put here is misleading. I mean, what do you want the person to bang one's head against this wall? I don't know. Why was this sign put here? What does dead mean? Dead, as we know all, no means it's the end. And this is actually the end for the person with disability. Either you go and bang your head against this particular khamba here, or against this advertisement signage, or you can go and bang your head against the Delhi police chowki. See how these styles are creating more of an issue rather than if they were just not there. This is bad enough. But what about this? Here the tiles is the picture is not so clear, but here the tiles are leading into this river like Nala. And here the tiles are leading inside a drain. And here there's a tree, and here is this particular pillar where you can always go and see that you hurt your head. Similarly, because of limited awareness, how those tiles, the utilization of that tiles doesn't happen effectively. Look at the parking here. The parking sign is not even visible to a person who has 6x6 eyesight. This is better. Often the attitude issues. Here, the entire ramp has been very effectively made, but somebody decided to beautify it. And the beautification is because the person beyond that urban planner does not know about disability, is not sensitized to this. And I look at this particular, I keep wondering, should I go, what do I do with this particular ramp? Should I slide down this ramp? Ask my young children to slide down here, use this as a play swing, a slide, or is it for getting the wheelchair up there? So this is not being aware. Once the mistake is made, I understand the regulation bodies of our urban planning session units need to be able to do something about this. It's not easy, I know, because it's a lot of money, lot of other issues which are linked to the certification of a new building being done. When we had polio, everywhere there was this advertisements, only 2 drops, nothing difficult. It's so easy. Why don't you do it? And therefore, we are polio free as a country today. Are pictures like this visible, put anywhere, showcased, or just banners on bus stands, etc.? See, this is a possibility. The stairs are here, and this is how it can be. There are designs which have been made, but they're not visible to the person, to the lay person, so they cannot ask for it. And of course, as professionals in this field, all of you are very, very aware of the harmonized guidelines and space standards for barrier-free building environment for persons with disability and elderly person, which was which came out in 2016 by the Ministry of by the Government of India, Ministry of Urban Development. We also had the same guideline in 2000, which was rectified and made even better in 2021 by the Ministry of Housing, Urban Affairs, and Government of India. Dr. Sharma, Dr. Parul Sharma always puts these in the chat box. I'm sure he will not be able to control himself and he will put them in the chat box for all of you to be able to access them easily. They are on the website. The rights of persons with disability, and we have the Accessible India campaign, under which with our sessions link directly to Accessible India campaign. Now look at the receptions here. How, look at this wheelchair, it can go in and it's so much easier to interact with the person on the other side of the table. But here, for a person on a wheelchair, the person who is inside is so difficult to be able to communicate effectively. Our ramps, we've already discussed that. There is a lift, but there is no ramp. The travel chain has been broken. Even a small break in the travel chain will not have will not be able to enable a person with physical disability to reach the goal, to reach where the person goes for employment or for any other activity. Now, here is such a, we saved on space, but you don't have to space. There needs to be a way of grasping the railing here, which is not, and which a person whose gait is not so very strong. It could be a person who's elderly, it could be a young child, it could be a person who has a physical issue with one of the legs. They do not have it here. This is better for the visually impaired. Now, toilets, we have already had a discussion. Now, we in India used to have a chocolate, a piece of wood that we used to have. All of us as architects and engineers are very aware of it. But this is very uncomfortable for a person who has a physical challenge in the lower limbs, especially. Now, this is a much better toilet. Drinking water, if we could have sink designs like this rather than this. And so here are the references that you would like to go through. And let me just move on to the next one quickly, and then we will have some space to interact with each other. Creating a greater commitment to accessibility for all. The global laws and acts, the Indian laws and acts are clearly indicating moving towards greater commitment to accessibility. We want everyone to be in the public spaces so that we have more contributing members of society. Let's have more people who pay tax. When will they pay tax? When they are able to be employed to the level that others, which is their potential and capabilities. And this is what's happening, that because of attitudinal reasons, social reasons, physical infrastructure reasons, transport reasons, the persons with disability, temporary or permanent, are not able to be reach the space, complete the travel chains through which they have to move from one place to the other, which is possible in developed countries because the urban planning is more effective there. We are moving towards much better urban planning here. Of course, I completely agree with you. So social barriers, physical barriers, and institutional barriers is what is affecting the, and if you would recall, there is the Act and Policy, the Act, Revised Persons with Disability Act 2016, has 21 disabilities now recognized, certified. And here, if in our cities we are able to get at least visual, auditory, motor, speech, people with limitations or diversities in this area into public spaces, we would have done an immense amount of possibilities